Everybody, Chris here with Florida Life Homes. I just wanted to give a kind of a quick market update and sort of what we're going to see or what I think we're going to see in the coming months as the housing prices they continue to kind of plateau on the seller side of things. We know it's been a big boon in the sellers market because of COVID and all the money that was out there that the Fed was kind of pumping into the economy and then artificially suppressing the interest rates. So now we're seeing where they're tightening up the short-term rates and mortgage rates have soared comparatively. They're still at a historic kind of average or low point from where we've seen them years ago. But for now we're looking at a plateauing market, which is kind of a good sign for those buyers out there that may have lost some of the homes that they bid on, and the sellers are still getting good prices for their homes. So it's kind of leveling off, but some of the reasons behind that, like I said, are those interest rates that have surged now. Existing home sales have dropped for the last 6 months. That's the number of houses being sold, and that's kind of the lowest or slowest it's been since 2015. The private residential construction in the past 24 months was at a high point, but then with all the shortage in supplies, workers, what have you, it's gone down by like almost 20% at this point. And in time, fewer houses being built today is going to cause problems down the road in the future as housing demands increase, especially here in the central Florida, Tampa Bay region. With all that said, that's some people are thinking there's going to be a massive bust in the housing market, which is a lot of us have lived through it. The 2007 at the height, and then everything kind of crashed down. But at this point, I think that's kind of unlikely. So last time, on a national average, prices bottomed out around 2012. It was about 25% lower than where they were at in 2007. And then from the peak of the bottom, the housing starts plummeted at 79%, and new home sales fell 80%. So it hit both sides of the market. It hit the new sales, it hit the existing sales. There was an abundance of inventory on the rental side too. So everything kind of cascaded to where we saw that drop in the housing market back in the early 2000s. But for now, why do I think it's not going to be a huge housing disaster like last time? Well, the first thing is that last housing bust was preceded by years of massive overbuilding. There was just too many homes on the market and available for sale. And, in the most recent turbulence in the housing market, there hasn't been a massive overbuilding. If anything, they've underbuilt in the last decade. Coming out of the recession, the Great Recession, they just weren't building it. They're just, the money wasn't there. So the inventory on new home side is lower than it was. So that's one reason. The second, and although home prices have risen substantially since 2020, relative to the replacement cost, they're only up about 2 to 4% than the median in the past 4 years. So what does that mean? Well, if it costs more to replace your home, then the more your current home should be worth, right? So if home prices reflect the replacement costs, and if you're paying more for copper pipe, drywall, lumber, labor, then it kind of makes sense that the housing prices have to support that increase on the supply and the labor side of things. Third, we got rents that are continuing to rise, and they've been rising at a rapid pace. I mean, someone around here in the Tampa Bay area, it's been 25 to 40% for some people, just, kind of crazy. But, think about how many people are leaving home ownership. The landlords can squeeze a little bit more out of them. So when you look at the price of the existing homes, the rents have not caught up to that yet. So where, someone may have been in a 2-year lease, or they may have, coming out of the forbearance and the current owner of that home, they can get by with a $2,000 rent payment. They don't have to charge the market rate of $2,600. So there's going to be a catch up where the rents are going to have to come up and meet the housing prices. Um, so in the current market, where higher mortgage rates are pushing some buyers to remain renters, landlords they're in a lot stronger position. So as we see it, the lack of inventory is still present. Those that were likely buyers and the rates are higher, they may rent again or continue to rent. So it kind of incentivizes the landlords to keep the prices high, and because they can get it, it's a supply and demand. Um, but we'll see. Everything kind of evens out in time, but it's a work in progress. So right now, what does that mean for everybody? I don't know. Is it time to buy? Is it time to be a landlord? Do we wait and see? I mean, honestly, the inflation numbers, if you look at what they're telling us it is, somewhere around 9% or so, if you go by the old calculations, we're probably more around 14, 15%. So, when you look at the locking in your mortgage at a 30-year note, your payments stay the same. Whereas if you go and rent a place and it's $2,200 a month, you're there for 12 months, and then they decide they're going to sell the house, and now you got to go find somewhere else to live. Well, the current market rate's at $2,600, so your payment's going to go up $400, unless you're going to step down your standard of living or where you're housing. So there's still a lot of benefits in home ownership. I'm not a big tax guy, but there are write-offs there. It's just in the long term, if you can stay somewhere, then home ownership in time tends to build wealth, and it's a great asset to have. There's other programs out there where if you're coming to Tampa Bay but you're maybe here for a year or two, you don't know, or you don't know the area. There's some other buyers out there that we work with, and they actually will buy the house for you and then rent it back. You know exactly what your rent's going to go up from year one, and you can stay up to 5 years. So during that duration, you know exactly what you're going to pay. It's locked in at a set increase per year, but you can handle that because you can budget 12 months ahead. The other benefit to those buyers is that you are locked into a guaranteed purchase price. So we saw a lot of these folks that if they bought in early 2020, they are locked in at that purchase price. So 2-3 years down the road, where that house was, say $400,000, and now it's worth $600,000. Well, their purchase price might be at this point $450,000. They're locked in. The other benefit too, if all this is wrong and we do have a crash, well, if that $400,000 house is now worth $350,000, you don't have to buy it at the that other price point. Get out of the lease, buy the house across the street, and take advantage of the market conditions. So I guess the bottom line is there's solutions out there. You just got to figure out what's best for you and your family. I'd love to help you out, and if you have any interest in what I was talking about or have any questions, certainly reach out. Let's connect, and let's get you home.